Hi, I'm Dean with Old English Outfitters, and today we're going to be taking a look at the brand new Henry Supreme in 300 Blackout. So we were lucky enough, we got some of these in for stock pretty close after they became available. We wanted to grab one immediately and get some time for review because we have been, I think the industry as a whole has been very excited about these guns. Something that will reliably feed AR calibers out of an AR magazine in a lever action platform. That's pretty cool, especially for suppression, which we're going to talk about that a little bit more later as to why this might be kind of an ideal suppressor host. But before that, let's go over the features. So you do have walnut furniture in the stock and the forend. Now this is probably some of the best furniture I've seen out of Henry. A lot of their guns, they have not bad at all, but just very traditional lever action furniture, whereas this has very sharp, clean lines on the comb and especially on the curve of the pistol grip. It's radiused well. It has really good checkering that is a little bit more aggressive, I think, than standard checkering. So it looks and feels very nice, but even being walnut furniture, it has a little bit of a modern feel to it. You can tell that somebody kind of took time with the ergonomics of everything and made sure that it would feel good. From there, you do have a tang safety, 2-position fire and safe, much like you do on the Homesteader. The exact same safety, really. The lever is a medium-sized oval loop. It's not a big D-loop, but it's not the kind of small, way too small for gloves or anything loop that you'll have on some Henrys. The trigger is a standard curved trigger with a very interesting pull. It is short travel. It's very clean. It's got a crisp break, but it is a little heavy. I don't mind that necessarily. It's very easy to be accurate with, but it has a bit of an odd feel. It doesn't feel like a traditional lever action trigger. Well, because it's not. You can see obviously there is no exposed hammer on this gun. So it does not feel quite like a traditional lever action trigger. It has almost like a spongy take up into a crisp pull. It's kind of odd to where it feels like a nice clean break, but it's not, it doesn't have that snap that some triggers will have. You have a very polished bolt for your bolt here, and it does appear to take traditional AR pattern bolts. If you look in there, you have like a traditional bolt you'll find in any bolt carrier group for an AR-15. The lever actually comes out for the entire trigger guard assembly and what houses the trigger, which is pretty standard for lever actions, and is very, very smooth. Like super easy to actuate. We did have some kind of hitches when we would try to run it fast. Just because I think I wasn't wearing gloves. We were out shooting in the cold and I had forgotten my gloves, and just having a little bit of space here for your hand to come off the grip and punch into that, you have to really be authoritative with getting it forward or it's not going to, it won't malfunction. We didn't have any failures to feed, but I would start taking the lever back in and almost catch like a little hitch, and I'd have to force through that. No problems with the function, just something to note. This does not work like the Henry Long Ranger series. If you've ever held one of those, they have like a camming system with a gear head on the front of the lever and then a bunch of teeth on the bottom of the bolt. So you get a lot more bolt travel in relationship to how far you have to throw the lever. This actually has 2 action bars that kind of pivot into your bolt carrier here. You have a very smooth, very easy to throw lever that accomplishes the same thing, allowing it to feed cartridges like 5.56 and 300 Blackout. The point of all this will take Stan-Ag pattern mags, AR-15 mags, and uses kind of this paddle release here. It has the same locking mechanism like you would for any AR-15. However, there's a little bit of a camming system that allows you to use this paddle ejector to kick the magazine out. Forward of there, you have just a traditional walnut forend. I don't believe this houses any of the mechanism. It all is contained in the receiver, so I'm pretty sure this is just a bolted on piece of walnut. There's a very long bolt that goes in the front here, and you can actually see the end of that and the threaded hole in the bottom of the receiver if you look in the mag well. So do have a very nice set of iron sights. They are not the traditional Henry iron sights, you know, the bent spring with that little adjustment thing. You do have a fully adjustable serrated rear and then just a fixed front post. They are a little bit different of a sight picture. It's not a traditional 3-post. You have this is a little bit of an A shape, and then this is kind of like an upside down V. So you do have a taper that leads to the points of the rear sight and the front sight. Very easy to pick up quickly and be precise with, and also these sights were dead on from the factory. I was hitting very small pieces of steel with this, but without having to adjust the sights at all. We do have, of course, a dead air chemo muzzle device. It does not come with this. It comes with just a thread protector. But I will say, as silly as this may sound, it's a really nice thread protector. Not all thread protectors are created equal. This one has an O-ring that is on the shoulder of the barrel. And then when you tighten that thread protector down, it actually captures and goes over that O-ring. So you have a very tight fit. If you've ever dealt with threaded barrels, that's just nice. You might appreciate that. The overall feel of the gun is very nice. You get a traditional lever action feel, and I would argue this is the smoothest lever action I have ever used. Those action bars in there that give you a lot more leverage on the path of the bolt allows it to throw very quick and very easily. Again, we talked about how smooth it was before. It was very easy to throw, to eject the rounds, and then load the other one in. Again, as long as you're authoritative, I don't think you'll ever get away from that as a lever action. As smooth as the bolt was, I almost thought we would be able to kind of baby it and eject slowly and load one in slowly and quietly. But that was not the case. You still do have to jam the action shut. Same with, a lot of bolt actions as well. It's manual action. You do need to be authoritative when you close whatever the locking mechanism is. This probably, I think, presents the most ideal suppressor host that we have had. Something that is a locking action in 300 blackout, you can affix a suppressor to, is going to be really quiet. You've seen probably videos of people with bolt action 300 blackouts and how they're like movie quiet, but you're still sending a 30 caliber slug downrange with little to no report. The same is kind of true here, except for we have the fastest way to cycle a manual action. That's the lever action. It's in a straight path. You come off the grip and right back to it. It's very ergonomic. So you have a movie quiet gun that shoots a 30 caliber projectile, has the potential for very large capacity, and is easy to cycle. Ideal suppressor host, right? Don't have to do that much to make it very quiet, and it just works well for you. I do have a few, not gripes, just minor comments. So the stock is a bit high in the comb, at least on my face. To get the iron sights, I had to really jam my face down onto the stock and press it into my cheekbone. To get on the iron sights, doable, but if you have a face mask or bulky clothing, that might be a little bit more difficult for some people. I think that if we mounted an optic, because this receiver is drilled and tapped for Picatinny adapter or Weaver adapter, like most Henrys are, this would feel perfect. I'd be able to just gently set my face on the stock and I would have my optic sight picture. But for the iron sights, I really did have to set my face down rather hard. Not a bad thing, just something to note. You get into a gun store where you can feel one of these, you'll probably find the same thing to be true. The other is the magazine. They just gave you a 10-round mag. Not a gripe, just I think that the 10-round mag kind of looks the best in the gun. It isn't hanging out very much. Even a 20-round mag, and a lot of our footage of us shooting the gun is with a 20-round mag. You'll notice that hangs down quite a bit. I imagine a 30-round mag would look a little ridiculous. It can do it, but what is the ideal configuration, right? To where it looks the best and functions well. I think the 10-round mag is it probably, but AR mags are cheap. I would have liked to have seen at least 2 mags. I mean, the Henry Homesteader comes with 2 mags, and that's proprietary, so certainly they're more expensive than whatever the cost of a P-mag is, like $10. I would have liked to have had a couple mags in the box. They also include a mag limiter for some reason, to where you can take this 10-round mag and put that plug in so it only holds 5. I imagine that's for state compliance in a few states. In Ohio, not a problem here, but they do give you that in the box. As far as overall function, again, there was a couple things. So the lever, it feels deceptively smooth, but you still have to run it like a lever action, which probably sounds like a common sense point. You cannot baby this lever. Forward or back, you have to run it with some authority so that it will cycle well. The magazine, while this does work, I think that the paddle release has a break-in period. When we first got this gun out of the box, we were having some trouble getting the mags in and out, and I think it's just, wearing in that little metal piece that engages in the polymer, or even the magazines themselves, to where they would then drop free. Because before we were having to push that lever and strip the mag, or we'd have to fiddle with it to get it to unlatch, whereas once we kind of broke the mechanism in, the mags were dropping out. Also, something to note, just like an AR-15, it is much easier to put the magazine in on an open bolt. Might not be, I don't know what you would think, common sense to do, or how you would think the gun would be loaded, but sticking the magazine on an open bolt and then closing the lever, I feel is just a lot easier overall, because you're still trying to compress the spring of that AR-15 mag. You can do it, but just like an AR, you have to insert and smack the mag or really lean on it to get it to lock into place, and then test with a pull to make sure it's not going to come out. Other than that, I don't have any real complaints about the rifle. It works exactly as you would want it to. In fact, it works better than I thought it would. The action feels even better than I thought a lever action could feel, especially one that shoots a necked rimless cartridge like a 300 Blackout. The look of it is very nice. The vibe is very similar to the Homesteader. It has that kind of classic look, the finish, the walnut furniture, but you can tell it has a modern take, right? We've had modern machines on this gun. This is very obviously press checkering and a machined out walnut stock that's then been finished, but you get very good ergonomics because of that. There's not any blemishes or slips or failures in fitment like you have had on older lever actions. Everything just goes together perfectly and looks really nice. Overall, I like this gun. This is exciting, okay? For specifically suppression, and I'm not one to go all in on the modern lever action things. I think some of the Ranger point precision stuff looks cool with the M-LOK rails on lever guns and all that, but I think that this is a more beneficial take on a modern lever action, giving it a different chambering and making it take AR magazines, because the mechanism, as old as it may be, is still one of the best manual cycling mechanisms out there for any rifle, because of how ergonomic it is and how easy it is to run. You get the benefits of a locked bolt, a locking action, without having to come off the gun and go 3 different ways like you would with a bolt action. So I like the innovation. Henry has been putting out some cool stuff lately, and I hope they continue. Guys, that's the review. Thank you so much for watching. If you like what you saw, please like this video, leave a comment, and subscribe to our channel. Also, check us out on social media. We're on pretty much every platform you could find, at Old English Outfitters. Check it out. If you like what you see, give us a follow there as well. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time.